Becker, but I am official moderator on this Discord, and I run classes through this Discord. See Ethan Becker's official Discord, and there I is. There I am, right there. So, all right. So today we're going to be continuing with what we did last week with doing drawovers of these heads. Like, let me show you what I actually did last week for these. This is the first one I did. Remember, I did that. I did this one in like 2 class sessions. I did them really slow and kind of meticulous because I was trying to wrap my head around understanding the technique and stuff. And I may slow down to do a little bit more meticulous today too, but we'll see. Then I got a little bit more loose with it, like on next day that I did these. I kind of understood the technique, so I was sort of using it to break down more heads and so on. These are drawovers of artists I admire that I found on ArtStation. This is more of the same, except I started doing like margin doodles, kind of like turn heads from different angles, do little vented heads and other little doodles and stuff. More stuff from ArtStation, from artists I admire. And then I started doing a page of invented heads. And I'm going to be doing more of these too, and I'll do a few of them this evening, I think. This evening or later in the week, we'll see. But I'm going to be trying to like get at least one page like this week too. Maybe a few more. So anyway, as you may notice, I decided to put together a Katsushiro Otomo and Kira themed page, which is available in the Discord chat if you want to download that here. And here's the template that I made for this. Although you can make your own template. Yeah. Yeah, the art cult. I was doing for fun. For fun and exploration ideas. I was doing like drawovers of stuff yesterday. Drawovers of clip art yesterday, like this thing, for example. Making kind of like art cult stuff. Just like this stupid stuff here. I was playing with ideas for like making possibly stickers or sellable stickers or something in the future. Anyway, here's one of the here's a thumbnail. Here's a thumbnail for a couple thumbnails for some T-shirts that I might make. Yeah, this one, that one, rude word T-shirts. I might make like a censored version where there's like an asterisk there. And then this one I'm going to be working on for like a little Bob's Big Boy. Art for lunch, art for dinner, art for breakfast. Spacedad, basically. Anyway, get on to the class now. Yeah, that's the fun thing about the Spacedad character. Like you can add a pompadour to anything and it becomes Spacedad, which I kind of like. All right, so I'm gonna get started on this. I'll talk through a little bit of what I'm doing, and I'll make various caveats for what I'm doing and why, and other techniques that Ethan actually touched on in this video a little bit, but didn't go into a huge amount of detail with. But it may help you break down what you're looking at a little bit. So our goal this evening will be to make like to just work through these at your own pace. And then I want you continually working on more of these throughout the week. I want you to use this to kind of turn this technique into something that's second nature for you, for being able to break down and see how the head works. So you can like visualize this kind of like wedge shape that's in the front of the head there. Anytime you look at a head. That, and I want to maybe absorb a few things from Katsushiro Otomo and Akira character designs. That's why I made this little kind of selection of stuff to do draw over studies from. What are you supposed to be doing? You're supposed to be either getting your own reference, kind of like what I got, of things like an artist you admire or something, and making a page of your own, or you can use the one that I provided. And I want you to do studies like these. In this case, I've chosen Akira. I actually will, a little bit later, upload a couple of the pages, the reference pages that I used for the other things that I did. Like the reference page for this, for example, I'll upload this a little while later. Yes, I did. Yes, I do recommend doing it with real photos. We'll be doing this technique multiple times throughout the week, so we will definitely be doing it more with photos. This is one of the class members from last week, right here, who took photos of himself. I think he actually drew on his face too. Yeah, he drew on his face.
Is there somewhere we could find the one the sheet that you showed that you used last week? The one with
Not right now. I'll upload it later. I don't have it handy.
Okay.
I'm just gonna get started on a few of these, and then I'll upload it. They already uploaded the Kira one, so anyone who doesn't have one to go on straight away has something to do. Kind of working down through the structure of the face, but I started with that face wedge. It becomes kind of a measuring tool for the rest of the face. Adding this kind of like center line, working its way down the face. I got the head angle, the side plane of the head wrong, so a little bit odd. I'm not completely warmed up again using this technique. So some stuff in the first few drawings is going to inherently come out a little warpy, I think. Building off the back of the head a little bit more, and building off this part. I'll move on to the next one. Start with the kind of the eye line here. Use kind of the shape of the brow. Sort of create my wedge. You want to think of the wedge as being like kind of like a Muppet mouth. It's a 3D shape. The point of doing this is to just like start thinking about the head three-dimensionally. Now that I got that, I can start like kind of figuring out the rest of the general shape of the head. This character is a exaggerated character design, but they do have like a skull underneath hair, basically. Kind of doing that a little bit. That's like when I do like the bottom of the the bottom of the wedge, it usually goes through like the sides of the nostrils. Just about. So this is not a race. So to do these at your own pace, they're not going to be timed. I'm going to be kind of powering through them a bit because I'm relatively warmed up, although I haven't done this technique for a few days. So I'm going to have to warm up to the technique, but in terms of moving my hand around, I'm already ready to go. Actually, shouldn't really even be zooming in that close. So I want to kind of get like an overall big picture of the thing that I'm studying instead of zooming in. And the point of doing these is to kind of internalize what's going on there. Like I'll have muscle memory later with what I drew a little bit, and it's going to find its way into some of my work. Move on to the next one. Nose there. Front of the head is somewhere about here, I want to say. Skull goes a little bit under the hair. Kind of want to aim for something that's going to look a little bit like I shaved Kaneda's head, Kaneda's head. You notice, like, one of the things I like about Otomo's art, Otomo's style, among other things, is like the emphasis on the mouth shapes. Like they're really kind of gritty teeth. They almost kind of look like Wallace and Gromit characters. Being pills, Tetsuo. Yeah. There's also like and the animators really lean into this too. They kind of handle the nose as like it's some kind of like clown nose shape. I wish more anime looked like Akira, like in terms of its basic character design. It's a much more humanistic look that's all about facial expressions than a lot of anime is. So this will have homework? Yes, it will. The homework will be keep doing more of these. This was my homework that I did this week. Like, I mean, like I did these in class, but this I did on my own. This I also did on my own. And this I also did on my own. This last week. Two ways to find the axis of like side plane of the head is you go up along the dividing line between the ear and the jaw, like that. And the other one is the top of the ear, usually, and terminated the brow line. Mind you, Kaneda's raising his eyebrows, so like the actual skull structure of his eye is going to be a little shorter underneath there. So that's roughly about what the side plane of his head is doing. Pretty happy with this study so far. Another thing I'm going to have people do as an optional thing, if you are doing like a neck or something, try putting a few ellipses in and make it kind of more of a cylinder. But yeah, what I'm talking about with the side plane of the head is basically like this here. Quick demonstration. So we got this kind of crash test dummy thing right here that helps you sort of figure out, like, that's the brow line right there, and that's like the top of the head there, and there's like the center line that comes down here. Like this. Eye line would be about here, and then of course I can add the wedge. Practicing this evening to that. A lot of you who've attended my classes in here previously recognize, of course, the Livestream. So I'm just going to do a little quickie demo for that. So there's the hairline just about. Yeah, you see, like, when we learn different systems of drawing, and we're going to be continually, like learning different systems for these class sessions, but we'll be layering them together. So this is me layering that wedge shape in with a little bit of, there's a little bit of some of the rhythms of, well, the Loomis head method, and there's a few of the rhythms of like the Riley method in there that we practiced previously, and other things. It's the nose. Real quick, before I move to the next drawing, there's a little something I want to share that I was working on before class. The game dev project that we're working on through the Discord. I made a little bit more progress today. I'm working on there's some serious mistakes in this, and like the timing on this is right, but this is like a rough pass at the run animation of the protagonist for the game dev project. There's some like legs and arms swapping to the wrong sides mistakes here that are hard to see unless you go frame by frame. That I've got to go back and fix. But basically, like the upper torso and the lower torso twisting kind of threw me off a bit when I was creating keyframes, so I've got to go back and fix all that. But I do like the timing of how it's turning out so far. That's for this prototype that's animation for the game prototype we're working on. We'll be working on more of that tomorrow. What am I doing? I autopiloted. That's not what I'm doing right now. So gotta get that face wedge in there. You can study other artists' figure drawing in a similar way. Yeah, of course you can. I would say even this is a good, like, we're going to be doing a lot more draw over studies like this, not just for head drawing, but for like anatomy studies of like hands, sometimes even figures too. We'll be doing a lot of draw over studies. Draw over studies are confidence building tools, and they also are ways of breaking down and internalizing stuff that you might have a hard time wrestling with right now. You build up your confidence from like kind of getting this sort of a sense of how it works, and then you can understand what's going wrong in your drawing a little bit better. I would say that like Drawovers, you should be doing drawovers no matter what skill level you're at. They're just essential tools of breaking stuff down to understand them. But I would say that like doing something like this, for example, is what you start with. Say you got hired to a production that had an art style kind of like Akira, you'd probably do a lot of studies like these to kind of wrap your head around how the character designs work and the general proportions and stuff. We're kind of working our way towards doing that for the game dev project we're working on because we've got to put a character model together with a group of like character designers and artists, animators, and working with. And we've all kind of got to wrap our heads around being able to draw it in different poses as needed. In this case, like I didn't really use too much of the wedge here because it's kind of built into the mouth here. You can kind of see like there's this two-cylinder sort of effect going on there. Chose to study that and emphasize that instead of that face wedge. So the circle that I'm doing here, that's just like kind of a marker for the front plane of the head. That's the top plane of the head. Do like some little side plane sort of things here. I'm going to guesstimate his hairline is covered up a good ways. Got those bangs in front of his forehead, so his hairline's probably about somewhere about here. I want to guesstimate. Of course, tilting his head down, so his skull's gonna shape. Looking a little weird. He's looking big brain. This. You've never done this? The drawovers? You mean? You never done drawovers before? Yeah, one of Otomo's signature style things is like, especially when characters tilt their heads down, he like really emphasizes the head a lot. You can see that in some of his a lot of you see it less in his more later work, but you see it a lot in his like earlier work. Some of his character designs kind of reinforce that, like Tetsuo, for example. It makes sense to do it for Tetsuo because, like, first off, he looks kind of like the youngest member of the gang, so he's kind of like this neotenous and a very, very young appearance. So he's got like a really emphasized forehead. And then when he becomes the like telekinetic monster that he becomes later, like that's kind of big brain villain Vegeta effect stuff going on there. Also, like emphasizes the idea that he's probably has like a constant migraine doing all this shit. Like I said, this is you should be taking this at your own pace. If you need the template to do these with, it's in chat. But you can make your own, and you can yoink your own art. Yoink your own choices of art or photographs that you want to study from. If you don't want to use Akira and Otomo work. That's what I've chosen for this evening because I want to learn something from Otomo and his amazing animation crew for Akira. you're not able to trace, then just do freehand studies, I would say. The draw over studies are supposed to help you like get more oriented. You get a chance to kind of meditate on a piece of art you really like, kind of break it down and try to understand what makes it tick. Muted the audio on this. It's convenient. Let me know if the music competes a little bit too much with my voice, but let's see how many of these I can get through this evening. I might do some more inventive heads and freehand stuff too, but I mainly want to concentrate on worthwhile studies of Otomo and Kira stuff myself. I'm going to take a look at what people are doing in chat too. What time is it? We've been at. Cool, this is hour 1 right now. We're on right now. In fact, I would encourage, after the class is going to end at about 8:30, I would encourage people to continue, even after the class ends, working on these. For at least like another hour or so. I've been drawing for most of the day, so I'm probably going to pull on into it at 8:30, be in about 2 hours. But I want to get some good mileage on these drawovers and maybe some freehand stuff this evening. Let's see. Sort of jumping around in the order of this, so I'm going to try to bring things back in. Got to remember the procedure. I need to start with the face wedge. I did kind of start with the face wedge on this. I did do the sides of the face. It's always a danger when I'm modeling that I lose attention to what I'm doing. I'm trying to do. That's why I've been like doing a lot of practice outside of class. I have time to really think about stuff a little bit more. Few more Kanedas to do on this page. I'll probably take a very short, like 5-10 minute break. 5-minute break, maybe. To grab some, to hydrate and stuff after I get this last. I'm gonna encourage people to take like 5 to 10 minute breaks every half hour to an hour. what we're doing is very sedentary, so you want to keep some energy left. You want to keep some energy up. You take a break, get up and walk around, hydrate, loosen up, get blood flowing a bit. I love these 2 cylinders. Let me do a little quick anatomy draw real quick. Showing kind of what's going on here. Let's put on X-ray vision for roughly about what's happening to the skull of this character. Let's see here. Zygomatic arch going up over here. This 2 cylinders doing something about like this here. I think we're kind of seeing the... I don't think we're quite seeing the top of his teeth there. Revision on Kaneda's head. There's this kind of cylinder right here, which we call the 2 cylinder. I think it extends back a little bit more, visible in his mouth too. Quick and dirty draw over. Really crummy anatomy study, but try to illustrate a little bit better what's going on there. Yeah, there's like this cylinder in here. Kind of need to get warmed up to drawing skulls again. In fact, doing draw overs of skulls might be a possibility for next week. Draw overs of skulls slash trying to draw the skull on top of a drawing or photograph of someone. That might be a good idea for next week's exercise. There we go. There's that 2 cylinder in there. And I'll move on to the last Kaneda here. Straight on view Kaneda. Manga. gonna start a timer right now, just for people who might want to get back from, who might want to like go on a break. I'm probably gonna be back after about 5 minutes after I finish this draw over real quick. I'll check stuff in chat though too. Mainly want to get up, walk around, and hydrate a bit. Do a check-in with chat and do maybe some critique and feedback. Anyone who's done homework from this last week, feel free to post it in chat too, in the Discord chat. The eventual goal I want to get to with like continually just doing lots and lots of head vignettes like this is I want to make really nice looking like, invented heads or like head studies from photos or whatever like these, but better. Basically, because that's going to segue into me doing like portrait commissions. And also just improve my drawing in general. But I want to build up my confidence so I can start taking on portrait commissions. Cool. Get a little bit of dough. Start saving up for some art class stuff. Both for my classes and classes that I want to take. Had my eye on several art classes that I want to roll in for a while now. Yeah, Alexa, if you want to do that, then get plenty of practice and build up your confidence doing these. Like you do these to kind of warm yourself up, and you start doing freehand, and then you start doing inventive heads, and then you go back to doing these, and then you just kind of revolve around them. Continually iterate like pieces of information. Like you have to have some kind of set tool for what you're doing. I know what I'm trying to study and what I'm trying to get out of this right now. I'm going to iterate on this in future sessions and stuff. And what I feel would benefit me the most to do. Reduce opacity on this, and then to go back and finish this one up. Break. One of the big things that you can get out of doing this is like when you try like inventing stuff on your own, you're kind of limited by what your visual library is and what you kind of put up in there from the stuff you've really meditated on and tried to study and absorb. Doing draw-over studies like this can kind of help you like realize, oh, you can do this. Oh, I didn't know you could do that stuff. With like how faces work, for example, in this case, but applies to anything else you're studying, really. Like, you don't really quite know the range of what you can get away with doing until you've studied good existing work, or live action reference for that matter. I'm going to take 5 real quick. When I get back, we will go over some of the class stuff. Okay, let's take a peek at chat. Maybe get around to exporting those other pages. Actually, I'm going to hold off on exporting those for this evening, but keep an eye out on my class section. I'll be uploading them later, this evening or tomorrow. So Gus, who was doing really well with this last week, is wrote their own selections of things. Peek at them. They connect the neck back there to the back of the head a bit more. But overall, like the general shape of the wedge in the face and stuff is working really nice. It's nice and clean. And let's keep at it. Keep doing more of these. This person who I think said that they weren't too confident what they were doing so far. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, you got to kind of wrap your head around like you're thinking about the wedge in terms of like a three-dimensional shape. It's gonna take some trial and error to kind of figure that out, but like you're using it as kind of a measuring device a little bit to sort of gauge the angle and the tilt of the head a little bit. Like for example, on Tetsuo's face, like Tetsuo's face here. Tetsuo's face here, like you can even tell like from the underside of the nose and the two-cylinder and stuff that we're looking at in an upshot, the chin and so on. So like the bottom part of the like the ring in the bottom part of like the face is gonna like shorten compared to like something like this. Also, because like we are going by the flexible brow line of these cartoon characters instead of like a hard skeletal surface. Like his brow scrunching down there is even more emphasized. So, I mean, these in general, like you're gonna have to like kind of wrestle with it before you start getting it. It's probably gonna take several pages of you doing lots and lots of these, but like really trying to think about it three-dimensionally before it starts to sink in. If there's any opportunity for me to say anything significant. Let's see here. Looks like that you're trying to do freehand studies too. Is that a freehand study I see there? Or is this a draw over that you moved? I think that's a draw over that you moved. This one, I think the head shape the skull shape got a little confused with the hair shape, and there's kind of weird kind of like a Picasso effect going on there. This one's pretty successful, I would say. Pretty successful. Successful. But like the Picasso effect, I got a little bit of that going on in this first one that I did here. So I can probably go back and fix that a bit. Keep moving on. Soraya says, I feel like it's really different though, because if you're referencing other artists, it's already simplified. With photos, it's harder to find the structure. It is. That's why we're starting with these. We'll be mixing in more photos for like future sessions of these too. Like these simplified shapes are a little bit easier to wrap our heads around. Like the process of solving the drawing is already done for us. But that's kind of the point, though. Like we want to like absorb those abstract forms that they use to break down and understand the face. A lot of us here are animators or going to be character designers or comic artists, so it would make sense to study something like this. This is the kind of stuff that we want to make. But we'll also be studying photos too, because you do need to touch base with reality. We'll be doing those like later in this week. I'm probably going to host another session like this, but I want to see if I want to figure out what I'm going to do for a figure version of like literally what we're doing here, maybe on Wednesday. But if you're none of those things, well, I mean, just pick what you want to study and study it. If there's something, if you got an artist that you want to absorb information from, then you should pick it for your studies. In this case, I have a reason for doing this. Like, there's a, I want to kind of absorb some of this stuff for the game dev project that I'm working on. And for the folks here, it would be a good idea to wrap your heads around Atomo stuff, because Atomo's work is very interesting, very visually appealing, and the structures on it are a little bit easier to break down than even most anime. They're very, very humanistic characters, which I really enjoy greatly. We might do, like, in a similar vein, we might do some of the antecedent styles of fairly realistic characters in other sessions like this, like Satoshi Kon films or something too. But I won't limit it to that. We'll probably do like some cartoony, exaggerated stuff too in the future. For now, like stuff like this that is really about visual clarity, it's really handy to do. Just got here. How long have you been on? About an hour and a half, I think. Yeah, close to an hour and a half. About 10 minutes away from an hour and a half. So we got another hour and a half, an hour and 40 minutes left to go. So I do kind of have to guesstimate where the stall is. It's usually best to kind of like slightly curve the line. Ethan likes to draw it straight, but sometimes it can be straight. I tend to favor curve, very slight curve, because it helps reinforce the three-dimensionality. What shows what? Akira. Movie Akira. And the manga, also. The manga is actually getting a anime adaptation finally. It's good because the movie kind of truncates and like oversimplifies what is really an epic story from the manga, and the manga is much better written and paced out overall. Although the movie did do some really a lot of things very effectively, I would say. The manga was still running when the film was in development, and Toma hadn't like quite written the ending. the manga yet. The other thing. But the film is not exactly like the manga. There's a lot of characters that get shuffled around. There's a lot of characters that are major characters in the comic that become like background characters or minor side characters or characters with like very, very different roles. Like there's a politician character that in the movie was like kind of a corrupt, evil character, but in the manga he's more of a kind of leaning towards good, morally gray character. There's a lot of characters that are like major parts of the manga that don't get shown at all in the movies either. As with Kaneda, there's like a 2-cylinder thing going on there. I'm gonna dwell on it too much. There's additional stuff that you can kind of break the face down into after you start with that starting wedge. Like for example, you could take the top of the ears and then flip around the corners of the mouth like that. Roughly about where the corners of the mouth would be. The mouth was stretched inward. Raleigh method rhythms right there. Do you know where the head is behind the hair? I'm kind of guesstimating. I also kind of have a general idea of how the head is structured, so I can sort of like measure it a little bit. It's kind of off, to be honest. Like, you don't really need to put this in here if you don't want. A little bit easier to tell where the head is on Kaneda, though. This is Kaori. She's got a lot more hair covering the face, or her head. See, I've got about like 2.5 rows done so far. Maybe I can get all of the rows done tonight. And it's not a race. I'm gonna slow down and do detours wherever I feel it'd be valuable to do so. That'd be cool if I can get like the entire page with this tonight. That'd be another page under my belt. What's your highest score on Google Snake? I've never played it. I know of it. I know what Snake is. Are you asking me that? I have an odd head. You're from the manga. Eyes seem to be a little bit more proportionally exaggerated than usual. But kind of revise a little bit here. Like her nose is like a little bit off too. Probably gonna be some imperfections in the manga. Sometimes there is an animation that you pick to study. You measure out stuff. Sort of like altering her face slightly. There. You would be about here, I think. Move on from that one after just doing a couple more things here. Remember, these aren't tracings, these are studies to break down space. You're trying to understand stuff. You can do a little bit of tracing here and there to kind of understand things too, but you're trying to break down stuff into shapes, rhythms, so you can absorb information from it. You're not trying to replicate the drawing, you're trying to understand what it is you're looking at. And walk through the act of breaking it down to shapes. Have I seen the anime episode of Animaniacs? I've seen the clips. I'm gonna watch it later. Some people I know actually work on that. Animaniacs in general, I mean, not that episode. Although I wouldn't be surprised if some people I know did. There's a lot of Studio Yada people, so I probably might know some of the people that work on it. Probably a good opportunity to show off a little bit how the lips and the chin work, because this is in profile. Just quick side plane, top plane, and real quick. It's over. So, one thing to note when you're looking at the, so Ethan's wedge, it applies to the lips. It's kind of obvious, but it also applies to under the chin. There. It also applies to the nose. You get this kind of there. In this case, you have a wedge that's like, so for the wedge for the eyes, it's kind of a little bit like this. You can use the structure of the eye for one thing, but I think a good way of like breaking down how the structure of the eye works, like imagine like Kermit with an eyeball, with a giant eyeball in his mouth. Muppet with a giant eyeball in its mouth. That's kind of what's going on there. Hang on, I gotta plug in my headset real quick so it doesn't use batteries. Another row of calories, and then we got 2 more rows of these. What time is it? 7:05. Nice. We got another hour and 25 minutes. So we're making pretty good time. If we have time left over, I'll probably do like some freehand studies of invented heads. Talk through some of those. Maybe I'll try to like spin, like the most obvious course of action to do invention with is to take some of the studies that we've done and try to draw the heads that we've done studies of from different angles, different facial expressions or something. But you can literally use the wedge for the mouth, but the mouth has like its own interior and stuff. You can see out, in, out. You can even see, that wedge also applies to the brow. That's of course part of the larger shape that's going on here of the whole face wedge thing we're studying this evening. XP Pen a good brand? Well, Zuriel seems to think so. It does have, like, their display tablets do have an issue with, like, they get, and Huion has this too, where they get less accurate the further away from the center of the tablet you get. But it's not bad enough to be a deal breaker, but it is something that you have to be aware of when you're using it. So XP Pen, like their 24-inch model, for example, Zuriel really like that. Zuriel's a really awesome YouTuber animator. He's working on a pilot show. It's developing. I'll show him a little bit, or I'll link him, so I don't think I won't play his video. Have my video get copyright blank and then have to strip it out later when I upload. Like, if you're wondering why I'm missing a couple episodes of what I've been uploading, part of it is because there's been a bunch of copyright blanks on the recent videos that I did because I forgot to edit out certain things. I forgot to stop and start the stream before I uploaded. So even when we get a crunchy resolution head like this, as long as you understand like generally how the head wedge works, you will not be lost. I did a lot of these over the last week, and I'm planning on doing a lot more because it's a technique worth doubling down on. And I'll just be iterating like more on like what I do with this and the other art, and like more importantly, the artists that I choose to study. When you do studies like these, like quick studies like these anyway, there's like, you can do longer like master copy studies where you're really trying to be meticulous. I might work myself up to being able to do that in the future. But yeah, I definitely will if I start to really digest and understand, like, for example, like here character models or something. But finish this a little bit here. But generally speaking, like what matters is that you have something simple that you can concentrate on when you're doing like these quick studies like this, and then it becomes about what artists you pick to study from, because you'll be continually absorbing more information from those artists in addition to the simple thing that you're using to break down their drawings with. I'm curious, does anyone in here own an XP Pen product? Since someone in here asked about XP Pen. It's a bad idea to use a lot of artists for the same study. What do you mean? Well, I mean, it depends if you want to get variety and stuff. If you want to like focus on something in particular, you probably want to be more selective about not just the artists you pick to study, but like the subject matter that you pick to study. In this case, like I'm picking stuff that's fairly consistent, but you can be eclectic with your studies if you want to. It sometimes can help you refresh the hand and eye. Is it better to focus on one or two? I mean, it depends what you're trying to do. Just trying to get like a good broad overhead of a general idea of something that you can do with multiple artists. I mean, it's up to you. You kind of want to feel out how you best learn. Like, in this case, I'm trying out like a lot of the same character over and over again instead of like different characters and stuff. And also, this is from the same production, and some stuff with the same manga artist who designed the characters that should design for the production. So I'm trying that out this evening to see how that affects my consistency. I did a little bit of that, you can see here, with there's like a lot of stuff from Maki, and there's a lot of stuff from Roads and a few other things here. But it's pretty. This page is pretty eclectic and mixed. This page has a lot of Matt Road stuff, and then has like a lot of stuff by another couple artists from ArtStation. This one, there's a lot of stuff from TB Choi here, and a few other things here. But most of this page is TB Choi. There's Solcora right up there, one of our artists from the Discord. I'm getting ahead of myself here. Always a danger of me going on autopilot and losing track of what I'm studying. It's not like the end of the world because like I've done the procedure so much I can kind of like visualize the rest of the face three-dimensionally, even if I start with other parts of it. But for this tonight, I kind of want to. Every time I kind of wander, I can want to reel myself back in to doing that face mask thing that we're doing this evening. Yep, I don't. Yeah, TB Choi is amazing. I want to take. She's one of the ones I've got eyes on. My eyes on taking classes from. She does teach like a little bit more kind of craftsmanship fundamentals type-ish figure drawing stuff, but in I think it's just in Chinese presently. Her Brainstorm Academy classes are mainly more advanced character design stuff. That's fine because there's other people actually at Brainstorm Academy that I would probably want to take over her if he's not offering something that's more appropriate to my level. I don't know. I want like her and like whoever's like doing like course placement to give me their opinion on like where they think what class would be best for me, class or classes would be best for me to take. Like Concept Design Academy or Brainstorm Academy, wherever else might be appropriate for me. I kind of want to ask industry pro instructors who train tons of people what they think would be a good fit for my level to get me up, could get me over my current plateaus. Get me to where I want to go. I sort of did the back afterwards thing again, but that's okay. I'm going to do another visor. So the manga, this particular drawing from the manga has like a really kind of exaggerated, elongated face. It looks almost like a different character. This might actually be a different character, but I'm pretty sure it's Kaori. It could be. What's her name? I forget what her name is. It's been a while since I've seen the film or read the manga. Yeah, I always remember Canadian Tetsuo, but side character's a little harder to remember. She's not really a side character though, she's a very central character. Kay. Her name's Kay. That's right. Alright, now begin on the Tetsuo row. Just 2 more rows to go. I think it's reasonable to say I'll probably be yeah, Kay. I think it's reasonable to say I'll probably be able to finish this page before the class ends. And then I can do some like margin doodles or freehand studies to show off a little bit about how you can do that. Because it isn't just enough to like, you'll get into a rut if you just do nothing but draw over studies. Although doing lots and lots of draw over studies is tremendously helpful. But if you're just doing that and you're not trying to at least like your own pace, like trying to invent with the building blocks that you're sort of replicating and studying, then you're not going to be able to take off the training wheels. You gotta take off the training wheels a little bit every now and then. And then when you fall on your ass, you put on the training wheels again, ride a little bit more with the training wheels, then take them off again, and so on.
Everybody's muted.
Hmm?
Why is everybody muted?
Why is everybody muted? Or
Yeah, I just joined on.
because we're in a class? But I mean, people are
Oh,
people are
okay.
welcome.
My
This is,
mistake.
but I'm gonna actually say right now, people are welcome to talk right now and ask questions and banter and chat. Say hello to your fellow students and stuff in voice.
Okay.
Hello, fellow students.
Good evening.
Yeah, I'd like to get more banter in here. Like everyone's so chicken. Even though I've had like the mic on for the last week and a half.
Oh, I thought we were still on push to talk. Okay.
Well,
No, that's voice activity.
let's see, do I have this
I'll actually take a look at some of Ethan's other videos. Like that might be good study fodder for potentially segueing into doing a figure version of this, because I really want to see about how we can do a figure drawing version of this kind of exact thing that we're doing right now. I can think of a few ways that you can break down a figure drawing, a figure image that would be kind of very similar to this. But I want to see if there's a specific trick from Ethan that would be helpful to do. It seems very obvious. Like for the longest time, I've been using other study fodder instead of Ethan's videos. But I mean, the server we might as well become fluent in some of the stuff some of the approaches that he takes. You know.
Yeah.
And you can use those to interconnect with other stuff. I think a lot of this stuff is good starting points for like helping to break down and understand stuff. You would combine it with the POCO.
Yo.
Yo. It's always the temptation to do the Tetsuo big brain on these like down tilt heads, which I know would probably not be remotely what they would be like this, probably.
Still fairly big brain.
Do the Otomo heads follow the guidelines of Loomis at all, or is this just like a significantly more modified version of it?
Well, I mean, they follow the same basic idea. Side planes of the head. so on. I mean, you can use Loomis to break down these heads. You can use Loomis to break down just about any head, really. But there's like there's anime-specific rough animation techniques that they use to break down how they did the Akira character design heads, and you can see a little bit more of it in some of the rough animation. I might see if I can grab some of it. Take a peek at. If I get done with this column of Tetsuo's. Get so quiet all of a sudden.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, a lot of people are still muted, and it's kind of awkward. Yeah.
Shh. Be very, very quiet. I'm hunting Akira.
That was really
I
good.
don't think you want to hunt for Akira. You know what's going to
That's not-
happen. You awaken
if you've seen-
Akira.
If you've seen the movie, you know.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think for Akira is what let Tetsuo to do the thing.
Yeah, Akira is it's a very layered movie. Like, there's some things I have not like. It took me like 3 to 4 times watching that movie to catch like a majority of the things that were in the
Yeah.
movie.
There's also lots of detail. A lot of detail with like the political unrest that's going on in the movie.
Yeah.
And some of it is very related to real world student strikes that were happening in Asia around the time too.
Ooh, I didn't actually know about
Some of those strikes were based on. Some of those strikes also were based on what was happening in Britain in the 80s with Thatcher. Thatcher busting unions and then like tons of people losing their work because she was privatizing all these public industries and stuff.
Mm.
Massive student demonstrations and stuff.
Yeah, I didn't really know much about the actual like undertones about this political things that are going
Mhm.
on. I was just thinking like some story moments and like are like looking at certain effects or different things in the story that didn't line
Yeah.
up the first time.
The students are protesting tax reform that basically fucked them all over. It's just like a massive corruption going on in the film,
Yeah.
and it was like there was something similar going on around during the same time in Japan also.
Damn.
So the film was partly a fuck you to Japanese authority that was in the process of like rat fucking an entire generation.
Yeah, that's why a lot of movies can't stand up to the impact that the movie has. Honestly, it's just crazy. The amount of work. Also, yeah, the amount of work that got put into the actual animation and that shit. The all ones thing scares me to this day.
There's a lot of like films that like were like kind of the trial runs for ideas for about how to animate and like storytelling that evolved into what Akira became. Some of them are like really a lot longer. And a lot of Akira animators cut their teeth on like these other projects that I'm talking about. Like these really kind of super ambitious OAV projects and other things that you can see like the beginnings of what would become like what would go into productions like Akira. Which was really cool.
I had the chance to go to Japan a while ago, and it's kind of crazy to see the murals in person. Yeah, they had like Akira murals. I think it was the Akira like 25th anniversary, or like 40th something. It was like an anniversary for the movie, and it was a wall and like.
Yeah, it's cool.
Was the wall screaming Tetsuo in Canada? Back and forth. There's just two screaming that back and forth.
No, it was like a few of Otomo's creations. I don't know. It's hard to remember. It's been such a long time.
So,
You know what would be also be a good one to study from? I think Leiji Matsumoto. He did all the Macross and then like the Interstellar 555 movie stuff.
Yeah, I'm bringing it up real quick on stream, but yeah, I see what you're talking about. The Shibuya project where they blew up like giant images. They make it a giant mural out of.
Yeah. Those
art
things
from the
are
manga.
amazing.
It's also there's some subway art.
Oh, looks badass.
Yeah, seeing that in person is wild. I should have took a picture, man.
Was it actually painted or was it like just blown up?
I feel like it was just
art?
blown up. It wasn't painted. If it was
Yeah.
painted, you could tell up close, but I couldn't see any like brush strokes or anything.
It looks like
It was all-
it looks like blown up versions of the manga art.
Yeah. But again, it's still cool to look at in public. It's wild. Another movie that I think stands up with that movie, and it's like a very attesting to that era, is Ghost in the Shell.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah,
movie.
no, there's a lot of
That's-
there's a lot of Akira veterans that work on that.
Yeah, that's number one movie for me.
There's
I think-
still quite a few Akira veterans that are working on some really good fit today.
Really?
The background painters from Akira is directing the Dorohedoro anime adaptation that's on Netflix now. And Dorohedoro is its own thing. It's its own thing unto itself too. Like, that manga has been like a underground pleasure of like a lot of like punk rock and metal or heavy metal, death metal oriented goth adjacent types for years. We've known about it. Not just like in manga either. But it's a really fun series. With for being like an ultra violent graphic over the top series, it's like it's got like a lot of heart and humor and humanity to it.
Yeah, I've only seen bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
Is the manga better than the show, or is it just like?
I think the manga should be read on its own terms. But like the show does a good job of like highlighting stuff that you might have glossed over a little bit more in the manga. That was always there, but you might have breezed by it.
Look this up. Or just look this up real quick.
Dorohedoro is just insanity.
Yeah, but it's insanity with like method to its madness.
How
There's
would you rate the
there's actual attempt at storytelling and character character development, character ideas, and it's like really nicely done. There's also lots of really bizarre moments where it suddenly like the comic just suddenly turns into a cooking advice column. And they don't really do that in the anime, but in the manga, like you'll get like a lot of cooking recipes and stuff. This is from an illustration that Atoma did of Stanley Kubrick.
That's Stanley Cooper?
Yeah. Would I put Atoma on the same caliber as Stanley Kubrick? Possibly. Even if his body of work for like the films that Atoma's made is not quite what Kubrick's is. like the sheer body work of art, and manga work, and illustration work that Otoma has made, I would definitely put him in the caliber of Stanley Kubrick. With the sum total of it.
Yeah. I've never actually seen Clockwork Orange. What is the whole premise of that movie?
To generate memes.
Like a bunch of rowdy teens that cause trouble, but then one of them gets caught and bad things happen. That's what I remember.
It's about it's mainly about like society going about trying to solve social problems the wrong way and just alienating things further, not really solving the core problem. A lot of it's about youth alienation and how that leads to like alienation of the working class and stuff, and how that leads to crime.
Delinquency.
Shit. That's a big one.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on with it. It's alienation of youth culture and stuff. So it's kind of a mishmash of a lot of different thematic things. I'd say that the film overall is mainly about like cultural panics over what to do with like with youth crime. How can we force these upstarts to be productive members of society or whatever? I mean, just wind up just burying the problem basically, not really solving it.
Theater scene.
Yeah.
Because they try to deal with the symptoms without really helping with the cause.
If there's one anime film that I honestly just put on a pedestal, just in terms of how many times I can watch this thing without getting tired of it, it's Interstellar 555.
Oh, that
The fact,
yeah, that was
the fact.
you should see the films it's tributing, like the Galaxy Express 999.
Yeah,
films.
no,
It was actually directed
I'm
by
aware of that.
it was directed by the guy who created Galaxy Express 999.
Yeah, Leiji Matsumoto.
Yeah.
Like, the fact they're able to get such an insane story just based off of Daft Punk's soundtrack was just, like, ridiculous.
They kind of abbreviated things, to be honest. Like, I think that's the film kind of suffers in that it tries to be a little too slavish to the track pacing of the album, I think. So some things tend to move a little bit too breakneck and be a little bit too didactic to the music.
It does work, though.
I mean, it does. It's a film that feels more like it's made to be chopped up into pieces to be viewed on like Adult Swim, which is what it was kind of originally.
I do just enjoy Leiji's art style. It's amazing.
They were able to release like chunks of the film that way before the whole film was out.
Technically, they also have it officially put up as the official music videos for all of Discovery on YouTube, so technically you can watch the entire movie in its entirety like that.
I also don't think the animation is the best. I mean, it's good. I can't really fault it overall. It's great.
Yeah, it's of its time. So.
Oh, hello.
No, even for its time, the animation was best, I don't think.
What was it? What year was that?
90s.
Really?
Probably around 93, I want to say. Maybe a little later.
Yeah. I think Ghost in the Shell was
It was still a 5555. No, that was 2003. I'm sorry. I think they probably started work on it like. But yeah, 2003 was the
Oh wow, it was really that late? I thought it was much earlier than
Mm.
that.
Yeah, it does look
The
up.
first 4 episodes were released on Adult Swim in 2001, though.
Mm. Okay.
This feels like it was 90s for some reason.
Yeah, it has a very strong. It feels like it was made in the 80s, like late 80s.
Well, yeah, no, it was made.
Well, I
because of
think
the
that's
It was,
style.
it was
art
made. It
style.
was. They were trying to like make it look very retro, and it was by one of the retro anime artists, the old school anime manga creators that Daft Punk were inspired by.
Did that come here the same? Wait, let me see something real quick. Okay, I thought it came out the same year as Paprika.
I'm just kind of sad that Daft Punk's never tried to do anything like that again, like a full animated movie
Yeah.
album.
Although, I mean, when you look at really the only thing they've done since then was Random Access Memories and then the remix album for Alive. So there really hasn't been any material to work with, and honestly, Random Access Memories would never work as a movie-inspired soundtrack.
No. And even Discovery was like it was very riffing. It was riffing basically, like which is part of one of the strengths of the film. Like it's riffing. The story was riffing very nicely off of the music for the most part. I mean, there are parts where it gets a little weak for me, where it feels like that they were like, oh shit, we were running out of footage to show this part in this particular part of the song, and they kind of buzz through it.
Even still, for what they were able to put together in something that did not have any dialogue, it was like really fascinating just to kind of watch. I kind of wish there was a documentary that kind of went through it.
So I get done with Commander here, I'm going to rest my hand a little bit, and then I'm going to try some other things. We've got another, like, another, like, 15 minutes? Okay. Yeah, about 15 minutes, I would say. 50 minutes left in the class tonight. Someone asked what brush I'm using. It's the Real G pen in the Clip Studio.
And it's crazy to think of how like a lot of the stuff in the 90s and early 2000s kind of looks better than a lot of the things that are being released now.
Yeah,
in
it's just
some
like
ways.
there's a lot of production shortcuts, and also like the style of some of the style of anime these days is kind of garbage.
Yeah, it's kind of upsetting. It's the-
Because it's like a
Yeah.
copy of a copy of a copy, sort of.
Like the A1
Yeah.
picture style.
yeah.
It's
there's
it's
some-
actually really interesting. I went on a huge tangent a few months ago trying to figure out where the style change came in from, like that style you would be normally used to from like say like the 80s or like early 70s that transitioned to what became the 90s style. And I think I finally figured out the keystone to that, which was the guy that did City Hunter and Cat's Eye. Because if you look at those two and what the influences were there, everything kind of transitioned to that during the 90s. So I feel like that might have been the catalyst.
Damn.
That's
Like
also
real cyber-
manga was also an influence on where the directions anime took too.
Yeah.
I'm talking specifically the art style. If you look at like what created what we know as the 90s, I think that was the catalyst compared to everything else that was going on during the 80s. I think that art specifically is what single-handedly influenced everything else at that point, because
I think it's a lot of things. There's a lot of stuff in the zeitgeist.
There's too much to even like pin down a certain style that it came from.
Well, you can usually like figure out who's trying to be an imitator of who you really kind of dig into it too.
Well,
Yeah.
Cat's Eye was released around, I think, 1982, and it looked like something that was being drawn in the 90s. So that's where a lot of this kind of speculation comes from me. Granted, there's a lot of manga that we don't even know about from that era.
Dorohedoro was influenced by Masamune Shirow, and I'd say Masamune Shirow was probably the biggest impact on it.
Yeah.
Well, like Masamune Shirow was a big influence on like the creator of Dorohedoro, and that knew like Akira to an extent too. Actually, should use Masamune Shirow sometime for study part or two. Be a good idea. I'm gonna do like some invented heads using the construction model I've been using.
Wait, who made Alita Battle Angel?
Battle Angel Alita.
The Battle Angel. Yeah. What is the name of the manga?
Also known as Gunham.
Gunham. Yeah. A lot of people refer to it. True.
Is that how you pronounce it? Gum?
Yes.
Gum?
Gunham. Yeah, Gunham is a lot of people say Gunham because like I've seen Instagram artists like refer to it and they're like
Yukito Kishiro is that.
Yeah, I've been reading. I have like the first, like the mega volumes of the.
I'd say that manga is definitely worth studying too.
It's
I have
build
the
it on.
first volume of it somewhere.
yeah, the cityscapes are so good.
Be wary of the omnibus versions of things, because for some odd reason in those, because the spine is so huge, the glue breaks easily. It's a weird common issue that like people have been complaining about for a while, so be careful of that.
Remember, her name's Gally, not Alita.
Yeah.
And then who can forget JoJo?
Oh Lord.
It's really weird when you go back to the original manga and you look at the animation style they're using for it right now. It's just like, wait, how do we get from point A to point B?
Yeah, JoJo underwent a huge style change over the years.
I think it's just sometimes it's like cool to see the technical skill of the artist rise along with their creation. It's just like the most interesting thing to see, like
Or in Iraqi's case, to see how much worse he gets at throwing dogs over time.
That's terrible.
I was drinking water. Thanks, man. God.
You just killed a man.
It's my stand.
I stando! Water, righteous man!
Just make someone choke on water with your
My stand.
Wait,
Choke on the
you
water. Fire in the sky.
You need a cool sound effect to go with it.
Oh my god.
Like a bass booster pencil drop or something.
I love how everything in the 80s and like 90s is so like inspired by Blade Runner as well. Like that
And
movie
people
came
type
out.
some things in chat. I'm getting a little bit sick of seeing the one line of text somebody made about Attack on Titan.
Oh. Hello?
Hello.
Type some things in the Twitch chat. I don't know. Like give me some potatoes or something.
Oh Lord. Well,
people,
you know.
Give me some people hands or something. I don't know.
Oh.
Cats go meow.
Scroll,
Dogs go.
let's scroll that shit off page.
Let's just get that shit out. Get that shit out of here. Get out of here. Alright,
I don't mind them asking that, it's just...
There we go.
Touchy subject matter to argue about.
yeah, it is.
People get defensive. I mean, they're not wrong, actually. In fact, there's some videos on exactly what's up with that, in a way, and it's kind of troubling to learn more about. But like I lost my train of thought.
I lost my train of thought once you made me choke on water. God.
Yeah.
I lost my train. Have you seen it? It's off the rails and just going somewhere, careening off into the distance.
I said Blade Runner. Blade Runner. Yeah, that's what I said. Fuck. Crazy to think how much that influenced even like the Japanese creators. Like even I think. What is the creator's name of Blade Runner? Who is this lad?
Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott.
Ridley Scott, yeah.
He's not the creator of Blade Runner. He's one of the creator of the film, the director of the film. But Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep is the Philip K. Dick book that it's based on.
Wait, say the book one more time.
Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep by Philip K. Dick.
Yes. A nice author's name as well.
This is a weird name for. Is this like all the base material of the movie?
Huh?
Sometimes.
This is like base material of the.
They do some riffing that's a little bit different from the book.
Generally the same.
Is it worth the read?
Yes.
Yeah.
It goes much heavier into the existential problems with androids and questioning what's real and what's not real and so on.
There's also a full mood machine that you tweak in the morning to establish your mood.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff that's like a big major part of the book that doesn't come with it all in the film.
I love how I click the Kindle version on Amazon and then I hit the paperback and it just says Blade Runner. The title changes from Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep to Blade Runner.
And if you want a good, proper sci-fi mindfuck, you should read a lot of Philip K. Dick.
I think I need that if I want to be a sci-fi creator, honestly.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's also Neuromancer or Stragatsky's website picnic. Helps with that.
Now the question of the day is: sci-fi better when you base it on the technology that we know, or the technology that once was?
Depends.
Depends on how good the story is.
Yeah. The story is.
What you're going for, because there's different types of punks. There's biopunk, steampunk, cyberpunk, dieselpunk. I mean,
Like-
that's just punk variants. There's also hard sci-fi, soft sci-fi.
God. Because I've noticed a lot of things are like, it's always a story that's the like you could have the worst looking thing to be shown on screen, but if that story is good, I'll watch it for you. Like, that is the most important thing for me as an artist. Like you could be like an okay artist, but if you have a strong sense of story and like storytelling, like I'll really want to watch what you're doing. Honestly.
So, like back in the 80s and stuff, like around like Neuromancer and other stuff came out. There was actually in San Francisco. There was actually a big cyberpunk fiction scene that emerged out of that. And it kind of makes sense because there's a lot of like computer technology associated people. So like the Bay Area in San Francisco became like a hotbed of like science fiction writing, of like cyberpunk science fiction writing.
Realizing whenever I draw.
And fun fact, that scene is also where Mark Laidlaw and a lot of other of the writers on the Half-Life series came from.
Really?
Holy shit.
Someone's got really quiet audio.
Me?
I think it's Beat. Beat's got really...
Yeah, that's probably me. I try not to talk too loud because I don't want to blow anyone out.
Yeah. Your audio is really quiet. Yeah.
I don't know how to turn it up. How do I...
Yeah, go to your input settings within
So,
Discord itself.
Speaking of Cyberpunk, Studio Trigger's working on a like,
Oh yes.
which kind of blows
Yes.
my mind because I never played I never played the Cyberpunk tabletop game, but I read the lore and enjoyed the lore back in the day.
Yeah.
It
That's
kind of
like,
it kind of blows my mind that Mike Pondsmith's original game got like the tremendous amount of like intricate detail he put and thought he put, like he didn't like slapdash a crappy little setting together. He like put like thought and like related it to real world events and other things like that. And there's like a lot of ideas in it that like stood the test of time and stuff.
wait,
And,
so that's
some of them, some events in Cyberpunk were kind of prophetic because of that.
So there was a book based off the. So the book.
No,
the game was based off the book.
No, the game was its own thing. But the game like it had its own lore and stuff that you could read in the source book.
Where's this, where would you find the source book?
You could buy it back in the day. I think they actually released it for free recently too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. To whet people's appetite for the CD Projekt Red game.
I'll take a look to that.
Yeah, because that's the only game I'm like really looking forward to this year.
Who knows? And they're gonna delay it again.
Yeah, it's yeah, man. It's December 10th now.
Yeah.
Remember the mighty words of wow, my brain is like broken right now.
Remember the mighty words of CD Projekt Red. We're sorry, but the game is delayed.
No,
again
no,
to 2022.
a bad game that's released late can always be fixed. A bad game that's released early will always be broken as shit.
Oh,
Well,
yeah.
That's not always true.
Miyamoto, there we are. Oh my god.
They could Duke Nukem Forever. There's always an exception.
Yeah, but that
Yeah,
game
no,
was
I will agree with that.
development hell.
But for
Again, it's
CD
like
Projekt Red's
hellish
case,
development cycle.
If the game's not fun, why bother?
Then you looked at Last of Us Part 2
Craig.
and Naughty Dog, and like, we don't do fun around here.
We don't do that here.
That's gonna be an infamy for a while.
We don't do it here. We don't do it over there.
We don't do it here, and then you look to their past with Uncharted.
Number 10 about to coming in hot and be like, hey guys, listen. We're pushing it to New Year's Eve. It'd be the best gift you can
We're
get.
pushing it to 2077.
I'm cool with them pushing it well into 2021, to be honest.
They're gonna wait till January to get Game of the Year.
Release when the ball drops on New Year's.
Based on what I've heard about like how much crunch that they're kind of putting the team through, I kind of wish that they were
It's weird voluntary crunch where they get a percentage of the stock. or
voluntary crunch. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, that's a
They,
word.
they say quote unquote voluntary because they're actually giving them a benefit if they do it.
Yeah, but they should be getting that. They should be getting that
They
without.
should be
crunch.
getting that anyway. Yeah.
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 It should be interesting if they do release it on New Year's. That'd be the best advertisement campaign for the game. New Year, new me. Happy New Year's 2027.
Start this one off right.
What's your New Year's resolution?
Is the freehand drawing supposed to look? I don't know. Goofy. I'm drawing it next to the ones.
I'm looking forward to people being berated by Johnny Silverhand.
Oh. I hope he's
Wanna
not.
get-
I hope he's actually real in the game and he's not just some weird AI.
Well, you know, he is real in the game, but he's in that little kind of AI chip that's installed in your head.
Oh, they already said that?
Like, yeah, well, they had some kind of a neural network body or something.
So
to
he's
put him
pretty
in
much
then.
some kind of waifu, but inside your
Right.
head.
So he's like the Ruiner girl.
Husband of-
her.
Kinda.
It's Bondo.
Yeah, because Ruiner, then there's also Motoko, I guess, that counts as like a ghost without a body.
Yeah.
And then I can't recall any more of that trope. I know there was more. It's not a bad trope. gigs that game's gonna be.
Joe, you can get me started on that.
Because the only game I played that had so many gigs was Modern Warfare, the new one.
Yeah,
Gigabytes.
I barely fit that on my laptop.
I literally could not install that game in my previous build because I had like 350 gigs total on my computer.
Jesus. Okay.
I want to cry, don't it?
All that for Warzone.
Is it sad that I'm literally glad I only play is like indie games because oh my god, optimizing fit on the computer, hooray!
Yeah.
Hey, Activision, can you optimize your Warzone? No.
They're about as good as
Hey, can you optimize Borderlands 3 so it doesn't my computer would explode?
they're about as good
Oh, I
at
didn't know.
optimizing their games as they are accurately portraying historical events. Remember, like I wasn't in that one, but in like one of the other Call of Duty entries, there was like a death march thing that the U.S. was responsible for that was revised.
Yeah, the
The
highway.
Iraq
they
death march
pinned it on
thing.
the Russians in Modern
Yeah.
Warfare 2019.
That was by us. We did that.
Yeah.
That was not by.
They basically took every bad aspect
Yeah,
of
and then like
every war crime and then pinned it on this rogue Russian general.
yeah.
Which is basically, it would have been worked better.
So
if it
so
was
like I
Shepard.
thought it was really strange. Like
Modern Warfare 2, it would have worked better.
I thought it was really strange. Like my God, this is really on the nose. It's like straight up revisionist history that's happening
Yeah.
in the Cold War game. I was wondering why that is. Oh, I found out. Oh yeah, that's right. Oliver North was one of the consultants on the game. Fucking Ollie North.
Ollie North.
The guy who lied to Congress in the
yeah.
Iran Contra scandal.
Oh,
Yep.
Jesus.
Did Family Guy made a
He
whole
betrayed
thing. Was it Family Guy or Ollie
this
North?
quote unquote
American Dad?
patriot who literally betrayed the country. Like,
Mm.
it's a fucking joke that like he's
Yeah.
he's taken seriously by anyone. And anyone who like takes him seriously and calls himself a patriot is a fucking
Ding dong.
yeah, a ding dong, a
Ding.
dongalingus,
Yep.
a dungus.
Is my power card gonna? Oh, wait.
Yeah, they literally like blamed the Iran Contra scandal off on the Russians. in Call of Duty Cold War, apparently.
Also in Cold War, don't you shoot up the Levanka building like in No Russian?
No.
Because I remember there was a mission, basically you go No Russian on Levanka building and somehow World War III doesn't start.
Yeah, and that sounds like something that Oliver North would come up with.
Yeah.
Oh, because we it's okay. See, it's okay. We committed high treason. World War III would have happened, huh?
They try to present it like, oh yeah, you're doing all this crazy shit and
You have to do bad things. Bad things are good to.
What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, never mind that they like these dumb fucks almost like brought us to the brink of World War III because they were doing that shit.
Not to mention raiding Cuba again, and it fails again.
What is with y'all invading places?
Yeah, I've been wondering that since I was born here.
Oil.
Yeah.
There's always the oil.
And lithium.
If it was only oil, it would at least be more interesting.
Well, it's oil,
It would be
it's
funny.
minerals,
It's not
valuable
funny, it's just
minerals.
sad. It's either that or you gotta put a dictator on there and then you can have an excuse. for it.
Specifically, it has to specifically be a dictator who's going to privatize companies for our international conglomerates.
Yeah.
Like if he tries, like, say, I don't know, if he tries like nationalizing the production so that, like, say, like the indigenous population, who is usually poorer than the white populations of Latin American nations, start getting social programs and stuff funded, and we can't have that. Time for a coup.
You ever see that Salmonella video about the banana republics?
Yeah, the United Fruit Company. Oh my God! Like
They go to Eisenhower and it's like, oh, she's doing all that stuff, and then it's like, do you know what that sounds like, Mr. Eisenhower? It sounds like a big fat commie. And then Eisenhower loses his shit, grabs an AK-47, and starts a coup.
Sir, let's go.
All that for the Banana Republics.
Yeah, I mean, Banana Republics were we created those, like literally creating dictatorships so we could like benefit one specific company, United Fruit.
And then now they're still around.
Yeah, yeah.
Almost like we were
They have a
ineffectual.
different name now, but yeah, they're still around.
Not just ineffectual, but outright harmful. It's almost as if pinning everything on a dictator is kind of bullshit.
It's almost as if overthrowing democratically elected leaders and installing puppet governments is something that, might come back to bite us and the rest of the world in the ass.
Not to mention what happened with Gaddafi and slavery. Bringing back slavery into the region. Thanks, Clinton. I don't know any other alternative. Holy shit.
Getting back to art.
Back to art before,
Yeah.
before it's fucking.
That's one thing I was afraid of for this. Like, it's inevitable almost. Whatever that stuff. Because we brought up Call of Duty though.
Yeah. It went from Cyberpunk to Call of Duty.
Yeah.
I
Politics
brought up
immediately.
That's my bad. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have brought up Call of Duty with regards to.
I mean, Cyberpunk stuff is very political.
Yeah, it shit has like undertones, but favorite director Satoshi Kon, good R.I.P. But great movies. If you haven't seen the movie.
Perfect.
I think that Paprika has often been counted as cyberpunk too.
Really?
Really?
Yeah, it is kind of. I mean, cybernetic devices to like go on other people's dreams and stuff.
Okay.
It has a lot of the underlying themes of cyberpunk, and there's a very, very Philip K. Dick oriented, I would say.
Yeah, it just doesn't. It doesn't have the aesthetic, but the whole story.
Yeah, it doesn't
is
have
very
the quote unquote cyberpunk aesthetic, but yeah, it's cyberpunk. Falls in that.
interesting.
Wait, so wouldn't, by that logic, wouldn't Inception and all that be kind of like a softer version of Neuromancer, in a sense?
I'd say it's Inception as aspects of cyberpunk.
Like a slightly like a down.
Inception's definitely cyberpunk. It's more of a subdued, on the surface, more very sophisticated in cyberpunk, but it's it's cyberpunk.
Like modern cyberpunk-ish.
Yeah.
That aesthetic.
Or maybe like cyber mod. You know what mods were?
Cybermod?
Well,
Cybermom?
back in the 1960s, the mod style, like those guys that wear tailored three-piece suits, only tailored three-piece suits and ride around in scooters in the UK, but are from working class backgrounds and stuff. Like the Beatles, the early Beatles look kind of like that. The early Beatles looked like the mods scene. Cyber mod, where you so the mod scene was all about like your low class life, but it doesn't mean you can't look impeccable, But they took very good care of their hair and their clothes and stuff, in spite of being like really poor working class backgrounds. So I mean, you can kind of say that about the crime film. Inception is a cyberpunk neo-noir crime film.
It's a heist, yeah.
It's a neo-noir heist movie that deals with elements of surrealism and dreams.
Yeah.
And then dips its toes in art film territory very, very, very slightly.
Also with the mega corporation presence and how they influence basically everything, they actively hunt down the protagonists.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's a piece of inspiration that seems to be in every cyberpunk, the mega corp.
Yeah.
The shadowy agents.
There's lots of structural elements of cyberpunk in there too.
Yeah, that would hint at capitalism and stuff like that.
There's a lot of stuff that isn't immediately identifiable as what you would think of as cyberpunk, but definitely is cyberpunk. High tech, low life. I guess kind of like mod scene types would probably fall into that category a little bit.
Yeah, I just remember one still from the Cyberpunk trailer, and it was the trailer trash. I don't know why they call it trailer trash or whatever. There's this trailer park guy with the big laser shotgun.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, high tech, low life indeed.
A little bit on the nose. He looked like he was from He was like a cyberpunk redneck rampage or something.
Yeah, yeah. Or the underground boxing ring.
Yeah.
Punch a robot.
Did you punch a
remember that
robot?
movie?
Real.
What's that movie? Real Steel with Hugh
Yeah.
Jackman.
I remember it.
Yeah.
About it.
I remember seeing
No,
that.
it's just because he just
You
said
mean Rock'em
fighting
Sock'em Robots the movie?
Yeah, it's it's a oddly.
It's Rock'em Sock'em Robots the movie.
Yeah.
There's no getting around that.
It's oddly. It was nice to watch after a while. Maybe it was just nostalgic feeling, but it was just like, it's been a minute since I've seen that movie. It was on Netflix, I think.
I do one more head, but I think I've got to rest my hand. I'm drawing from my like shoulder, but you should still give your hand breaks. Stuff goes. Drawing from your shoulder is to minimize the pressure on your hand, but you're still going to put some pressure on your hand
I think I mostly draw from my wrist.
without meaning to.
Yeah.
Oftentimes.
I'm still not used to drawing from my shoulder. I have to use my hands for most of this.
All right, since I've got a captive audience here, actually, here I'm going to stop it right here because I think I really should give my arm a rest.
Yeah, take your break. Don't catch nothing.
Yeah, shake out my hand. Let's see here. So, like, I had some ideas. I was using like those like drawing over clip art things to mess with ideas for like t-shirt and sticker designs. And I'm gonna show as many of them as I can. Here, let's see. I'll stream them on the Discord too, so you can see them in real time.
That's what I got. Because I don't think I. Like,
So this one right here is just, it literally is just like I added a little bit of Spacedad font to
Nightmare fuel. Nightmare fuel. Nightmare fuel.
and a little bit of Starburst thing. This one I want to turn into like a t-shirt. I want to wear this as a t-shirt.
That's badass, not gonna lie. Sees everything.
This one self-explanatory. This one I actually really like.
That's a fat mood. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
good.
That's a move when I start every semester.
This one's an original drawing.
I love it.
If I were gonna do this, I'd do like a really cleaned up version and stuff with character and font and stuff. But do maybe like a censored and uncensored versions of these.
I would wear all the uncensored versions.
Yeah.
There's no point.
It's not
honestly.
party.
Well, I mean, like if you want off as appropriate.
Oh
I
yeah,
don't know.
I mean, yeah. I work at GameStop. I shouldn't wear that.
GameStop, power to the players.
Oh, don't say that to me. I feel
GameStop,
attacked
you
when you
gotta
say
stay
that.
open. You gotta stay open no matter what.
I got a little Bob's Big Boy kind of thing going on here. I like this little guy. Monkey. Spacedad down there in the corner.
Aw.
Have a follow me on Twitter sort of thing.
Oh, wow.
Gona Guy, Mazinger Z. That one was just a doodle for fun, but I don't know if I'll... So I've got an idea for like some kind of a coffee thing with like a super caffeine or caffeine 2, as I like to call it. Like it's the sequel to caffeine. It's like some kind of extra dimensional substance or something. And here's like a bunch of like just random ass doodles and stuff I did over the top of a page of like
Are
Like,
those,
not-
oh, you,
This
oh,
is like,
these are
this is like
all-
1920s or 1930s clip art, basically. Um, this stuff, some of this stuff I could see being like developed into stickers. I really like this one. It's silly enough. So, like I might actually like redraw the dude or something, you know. Some of these I might like actually redraw them. Some of them kind of work best as just basically being a really evident draw over of clip art. Yeah. Looking at the art cult thing. There. This one's an original drawing. I'll probably change some of the text here, but this one I kind of feel good about making into a t-shirt or something.
Oh, that was kind of dark. Yeah.
This one could probably be a t-shirt. Change the text a little bit to make it flow better, but like something along these lines, like this kind of like word salad of like grotesque stuff that sounds like a schizophrenic is babbling and stuff. And this is also like, this is kind of an illustration of how it feels reading Twitter sometimes for me. And I had an idea of like making a like an image pack or something that, or like of like little comics and cartoons that are kind of like along these lines. And this would be the title that I, or like a mini comic cartoon series. The title would be something along these lines. It'd just be like weird dispatches from a bizarre kind of warped, ultra-conformist 1950s. And this is an idea for a movie poster illustration that I might do, like parodies of like 1950s movie posters or something.
Unfathomable terror in our time.
The Armorama. He was different than you. Feel threatened by his mere existence.
Gosh.
Yes.
The sheer curvature.
He's
of
slightly
his
different.
head will
He's slightly
inspire
different. He's slightly different. Can't have that. He's slightly different. Anyway. I think of these, which of these do you think has the most potential from what you've seen so far for like something that people might want to buy if I developed it and do an actual illustration?
The second one in the very beginning.
Which one?
The expensive art books one. The
Expensive art
one
books?
with the one with the wife and the husband's eyeball.
Yeah, I mean some of these are
another
kind
one.
of stickers that would be fun to like put up around your art station and stuff. But maybe like
Yeah.
maybe like those stupid clip art drawovers things might have some strength there.
Yeah. Those are those are definitely like sticker potential, but like as
Yeah.
So this lady's got 3 eyes, but I might just make her just a normal looking lady that's kind of winking a little bit too hard or something.
the shit one is good. I like the shit one a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this would be really
Shit.
good.
It's just very straightforward.
Yeah,
It's simple but clean.
Yeah.
I do like this one because you have a little more time to spend with it because of the. It's going to be doing like kind of like slightly off faces. You can kind of see me doing it with the kids there a little bit more, but these two are a little bit too generic. I like very slightly warp their faces, so they would look kind of like I don't think if you've seen Harvey comics of like Casper the Ghost and so on. Be something along those lines. I've got it on screen on the stream, but I don't think it's on Discord. But let's see here. It'd be kind of like this sort of thing, where like they have a little dumb lineup of the characters, like.
Ah, I see.
Yeah. But they're all like they'd all be like slightly warped and look a bit off, basically.
Very stretchy.
Harvey Street Kids. Oh, I guess they did a new version of like the Harvey Comics characters. They do look kind of like Harvey Comics characters a little bit, I guess. Uh,
kind of like Dojo Pink Sky.
Dan Clowes. I'm a big fan of Dan Clowes.
Dojo reference.
Hopefully, there's not going to be anything nude in here, but
Uh-oh.
you can see he did like a parody of this is his parody over here, but you can see he did like a parody of like RB Comics bullshit.
Oh, this is really cool.
Yeah, Dan Clowes is really awesome for very, very warped versions of like kind of retro 50s, 60s looking stuff in general.
This reminds me of a Brazilian illustrator called Butcher Billy. He does stuff like this as well.
That surprised me. There's some really good.
Very.
There's some very Dan Clowesy Brazilian illustrators I've seen. I might have seen some of his work. What's the dude called?
The guy just said.
Can you post his name in chat so we know how it's spelled?
It's Butcher Billy. Just
Butcher
that.
Billy. Butcher Billy.
I swear a lot of artists were influenced. Like,
Is there gonna be any nudes?
That's important.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I can see kind of
Yeah, this dude.
that. Yeah, but I'm gonna assume there's probably nudes in there, so enough of that.
Also puts
Not
me in mind
really.
of what's his name? Joe.
I'm already
guy-
I'm already pushing it as much as it is like just having Dan Clowes stuff on screen without screening it. So
What's the guy's name? Jamie Hewlett.
yeah,
That's what I was thinking about.
well, yeah,
Oh,
Jamie
yeah.
Hewlett.
Seems like also another person influenced by that guy because it just
influenced
not
by
even
him.
though
When Jamie Hewlett like predates Dan Clowes.
really.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I mean,
Hell.
although they were like
Oh.
they didn't really influence. I don't think they really influenced each other very much, to be honest.
Maybe it's just of an era thing. I don't know.
Jamie Hewlett came out of like the punk scene of the 80s, 90s Britain. Punk and alternate and like grunge rock and stuff. Tank Girl was
Tank
the-
Girl, yeah.
Yeah.
You can't pull that up on stream. No.
No, there's a lot of nudity in that.
You can't pull that up on stream.
Yeah, like the violence should be okay, but
But yeah, Jamie Hewlett. Yeah.
Jamie Hewlett, for those who don't know, of course, creator of the Gorillaz.
Very, very good.
Yep.
He's the artistic hand behind the Gorillaz.
And
Or
his
as I like
his
to call
art.
it, the one song that everybody knows and nothing else.
I mean, I know a few of those.
No,
songs.
everyone knows a lot of their songs actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, people hopped on the bandwagon.
Feel Good,
I mean,
Clint Eastwood.
yeah, those big ones.
Demon Days, Famous to What, Saturn Bar.
I think everyone knows most of the hits on Demon Days.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was their biggest album. They did.
I like some of their stuff from the Song Machine.
Oh yeah, I love a lot of the songs there.
Yeah, I might actually make a lineup of Gorillaz. That's one of the study subjects
Yeah,
for, for us.
his style is crazy.
Yeah, I mean he's got a lot of comics work he's done over the years too.
Yeah,
It's
it's
tremendous
Tank
amount.
Girl.
The dude's a machine.
I think it's mostly he's primarily focused on Tank Girl, and there's just different sets and iterations of that because I'm pretty sure
Well, no, he's handed it off to other artists. Tank Girl was actually not just his creation either. A creation between him and another dude.
Something Alan Martin? No. Am I wrong?
I
Oh,
think,
that's
yeah.
a different person. Tank Girl. Alan Martin. Yep, Alan Martin's the one. Yep. It was written by Alan Martin. Jimmy made all the art for it.
Not all the art.
Art. He's like the main art lead for when it started in '88.
Well, Alan Martin's an artist too.
Really? Oh Lord, I'm
I
being
think.
trolled. I'm trolling myself here. Art. Oh yes, yeah. Oh yeah, he does, man. Yes, indeed. He does do art as well. I stand corrected. Yeah, but they both said in this book that I was reading that if they didn't want Tank Girl to be defined as one thing, he wanted to completely, because all the stuff they were doing was just banter and just randomness, and
Yeah,
that was
it was like a Tank Girl was basically just complete bullshit between them.
That was my favorite thing about it.
That's
man.
kind of what made it work, really.
Yeah,
I was like,
he said once.
Like my teenage me discovering Tank Girl was was really fun. Oh,
God. Great comic artist. Great artist in general.
mhm.
God.
I kind of put Johnny the Homicidal Maniac in the same category as like or something. Ultra-violent, edgy. Creators usually got like a really weird, freewheeling, edgelordy spirit to them.
Yeah.
Usually out of some the comic is usually adjacent, or a story comic or aesthetic is usually adjacent to some kind of youth scene, more gothy oriented stuff. Like literally like Tank Girl got started in like a punk magazine, and Johnny the Homicidal Maniac got its start in a goth magazine.
I swear, it's just an artist's job to make a commentary on what's going on in the world. I swear, it's just like it always happens, no matter what. And it's the best. That's what makes the best work.
Even if it's not intentional commentary, a lot of artists draw because it's affecting them, regardless of whether they want to or not. It's impossible to escape sometimes that you draw what you know and what you feel, and the world does have an impact on that to a degree.
Yeah.
Or maybe you just find something interesting about the scenario where you want to explore it visually, show different aspects, give like putting an emotion that you feel from that event in that sort of thing. And I'm guessing through punk or goth filters, it really has a unique feel. So I didn't know there were punk magazines. Holy crap.
Yeah, the point of why I'm doing all this is because I'm like really unsatisfied with my art in general, so I'm trying to get like fluency so I can realize the ideas that I have. Execution.
Unsatisfied with art.
Yeah.
Oh.
And that's just gonna happen over time the more I stick to it and I try to revolve things. And challenge myself with the project stuff that we're doing. The game project. What time is it? It's just about quitting time.
Yes, 11:30 EST.
Yeah. We got some good margin head construction drills. And these are kind of emotionally flat heads with not too much interest in them, but it's just like playing with the construction technique. Like I could honestly like take one of the mannequins here and add better expressions to them or something. So I'm gonna be trying to aim towards. I might do like a Eurozone reiteration of this class tomorrow. That'd be a good idea. Something. Sort of just continue what I was doing tonight with the same momentum. And Wednesday will definitely be, but that depends if I have the energy to do that tomorrow morning or not. But Wednesday, same time, 5:30 p.m. I'll be trying to either do another round of this or segue into a figure version of this.
For when we do the freehand, it's supposed to look very similar to the draw over.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But in any case, like do lots of these and then try like inventing your own heads and your own characters and stuff. I was trying to do a little bit of that last week with this. I want to kind of do it more, and as I get more confidence, I want to make. My personal goal is like I want to make like fully colored, well drawn, cleaned up heads like these. I can do like mounds of sketches like this, but I also want to like work some of these up into nice drawings things over time as I get more confidence with the range in which I can create and invent heads and stuff. So that's my homework for you guys. To keep using the template that I gave you. Like make sheets of photo reference or existing artists that are good drafts that have a good grasp of, preferably with more clarity, with a good amount of clarity. You know, I'll be posting like the other reference sheets that I made in my be posting the other reference sheets that I made for the other iterations of this that I did last week. Discord for my class section later. I'm gonna be calling it tonight very shortly.
My first class. It was fun.
Yeah, my first two. It's been
Glad you enjoyed it.
for like 4 days. It's really
More
cool.
relaxed than I imagined.
Hopefully I get more banter like that in the future. Hopefully I won't deviate too much into politics.
No more Call of
That's
Duty.
good.
No more.
Politics.
Call
I
of
mean,
Duty.
I mean, like, there's plenty of time to chatter about politics in the Discord. Sometimes, if we're in here, I would want to personally like keep it steered towards art as much as possible. But anyway, so congratulations to sticking around to the end. Oh, and blah blah blah. I normally do like a plug for my Ko-fi, but if any of you have a Twitch Prime sub that you haven't spent, you want to support the channel, or if you just want to buy a sub or bits, that'd be great. Ko-fi links down below, Patreon links down below, where I also upload high resolution versions of my class demos and other things. So yeah, that's the end. See you guys either tomorrow morning or Wednesday.
Congratulations! 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 Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations! Congratulations! Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations!
Congratulations! Thank you all.